Good day, everybody. Welcome to another What's This Then? Today we're going to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So, what's this then? It's a first-person action-adventure with some puzzling, as you might imagine from an Indiana Jones-based game. However, the first-person part might actually surprise you. That was actually one thing I was quite surprised by. Thinking almost certainly that this game would have fit more into a third-person style game like the Uncharted series or the newer, newer Tomb Raider games, all the Tomb Raider games. Well, nearly all of them. However, my tune completely changed on that whenever I seen that it was Machine Games are the developer of this one. And published by Bethesda. Now, previously, Machine Games had worked on the New Age Wolfenstein games, and they have some of the absolute finest first-person shooting going, essentially. That Wolfenstein the New Blood, absolutely incredible. All their games are pretty great, except for the last Wolfenstein game they made, the little co-op one that had like live service elements and all that sort of awfulness. Yeah, I didn't play that one. Heard it wasn't very good, but that mostly came from corporate meddling, from what I understand. But yeah, absolutely, this one benefits a lot from having Machine Games doing it in first person. They know what they're doing, so I trust them completely, and that trust was well placed. This game plays very well in first person, and I can't imagine playing it otherwise, in any other way. Now, in terms of platforms, this one comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S. It's also on like the Xbox Cloud Gaming, and it comes to PC, as you might imagine. This is a PC first impressions, playing this one on the Game Pass. As part of the whole Microsoft buying Bethesda thing. Any Bethesda games are coming out in Game Pass these days, so terrific bit of value there to pick that up. If you are to buy the game, it would be £59.99 or $70. And the game came out on the 9th of December there, so when's that? Just yesterday there. However, it did have a 3-day early access. I think it was 3 days, might have been 3 or 4 days. I think the 5th actually is when that started, but like late on the 5th. But you had to buy like the premium edition to get this. Now, I absolutely hate this. I hate paid early access stuff because either you're being FOMO'd into purchasing a game for more money and getting less of the game because it's not ready yet. In this game's case, that's what happened. Or they're artificially pushing back a release date to get more money out of people. And I hate it. It's an industry practice that I hope does not become standard. Unfortunately, it's getting more and more common. I absolutely hate it. I hope it goes away. Please do not buy it. Please do not buy these early access things, because you're just spending more money for less game, or you're just being played by publishers who want more money from you. But in this game's case, if you actually did play the early access, you actually didn't have access to all the graphics settings. You didn't have access to the path tracing for the ray tracing. Not the biggest deal in the world ever, but still, you paid more money for less of an experience. Which, yeah, just should not sit right with you. But either way, other than that, everything else about this game seems to be doing pretty damn well. Now, to give you a quick rundown of the premise, just to read this from the Steam page, uncover one of history's greatest mysteries in a first-person single-player adventure. The year is 1937. Sinister forces are scouring the globe for the secret to an ancient power connected to the Great Circle, and only one person can stop them: Indiana Jones. Yeah, I mean, from reading that, you should just be like, yeah, that sounds like an Indiana Jones. Yep, like absolutely. And this game is probably one of the best, like, licensed. It's not a movie tie-in game, but, like, licensed sort of property, sort of like movie game, how all those used to be. This is up there. This is definitely up there. Now, let's go through the options so we can see what you're kind of dealing with here. HUD and gameplay, you've just got some basic stuff in here. Tutorials, turn that on. Item highlight outlines, these are quite aggressive by default, so you might want to turn these down. Incoming damage indicators, again, they're useful, especially if you're fighting multiple people. You've also got some outfit stuff, you can change your outfit and change the weapon stuff, so that's cool. I imagine if you got some of the other editions of the game, there might be more here, or you might even be able to collect more. I'm not 100% sure, but I haven't seen that in the game yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was in there. Controller wise, yep, you've got a whole bunch of stuff. Edit button layout. You can do whatever. Rebind your stuff. Controller rebinding is always good. And then you can really go to town on a lot of the settings here. Toggle and hold, specific things. Do specific trigger and inner and outer dead zones, all sorts of stuff. Really customize it to your experience. Same with mouse and keyboard, full key rebinding, all sorts of stuff here. Whether you want to toggle stuff, obviously you don't have the dead zone stuff for triggers and stuff here. Aim sensitivity, all that sort of business. If we go into video, we've got a really good video or sort of graphic setting option. Now, one thing this game does do, and I don't know if this is just me or if it's just one of my monitors or whatever it is, but I've had this thing with some games recently, and I can't tell if it's a trend or me. Some games like to open on the wrong monitor for me recently, and then I have to go into the video settings and actually select it to the right monitor, even though my main monitor is monitor number 1, but some games just seem to pick it up as number 3. I don't know if that's a me or a monitor or a game thing, not sure. But be aware, that might be something you have to deal with. But other than that, you got borderless and you got windowed. It doesn't appear to be a full screen option, although most things are just doing borderless windowed these days, especially if you're on Windows 11. I believe borderless windowed is pretty much just as good as full screen now, so not really a huge deal. Picture framing, you can change it to be cinematic or widescreen and stuff there, so that's pretty cool. HUD safe zone, change where that goes. Field of view, lovely. Big field of view slider here, all the way up to 110. I've been playing on 90 and I've been feeling like that's fine, but maybe up it a little bit. You got the VSync, you got an FPS limit, which is individual numbers all the way up to 1,000. This is the absolute best way to do a FPS limit, in my mind. All games should have this, if possible. It could be an engine thing as to whether certain games are able to do that or not. I'm not 100% sure. But this game is running on the id Tech 6 engine, which is an insanely well optimized engine. You'll recognize it from, I believe Doom Eternal ran on this. I'm not sure if Doom 2016 ran on the exact same version of the id Tech engine, but it ran on a similar pipeline. But this engine runs amazingly and it looks great. This should be an engine that others are begging to use because it's so good. You've got brightness and HDR, all sorts of stuff. Motion blur, you got several. I tried keeping motion blur on because I was thinking, cinematic game, Indiana Jones, I'll keep all the graphic settings turned up and we'll see how it looks. That motion blur on the highest is rotten. Absolutely terrible. Turn that off immediately. Let's see what else you got here. Film grain sharpening. I've kept all that on. So far the game has looked really good. I've been having a good time with it. Overall graphic settings, you can go up to Supreme here. It defaults to... defaults to Ultra, but you can take it up to Supreme. So far the game looks, the game has been looking absolutely fantastic. And here you can see you've got your ray tracing. And like I said, this game has full path tracing support. So if you have a higher end 40 series card, then this is something you can turn on. I did notice in the first mission, the game kind of ran pretty bad, even with with path tracing on, even with DLSS on and frame gen. But after that, the game has been running excellently. So I think it just might be that first level because there's a lot of lighting, a lot of dynamic trees and god rays and foliage swaying and stuff. So that could be why. But after that, I've had no issues running on these settings at all. But of course, I'm running on a 4090 and a 7800X3D, so your mileage may vary, but this game is very well optimized. So I would say push it and see if you can get any of those going because they do look really, really nice. But you've basically got everything you'd want here. All sorts, DLSS, all kinds of business. Performance metrics, you can turn them on, see what kind of FPS and stuff you're getting. Do all kinds of stuff. All kind of information and things like that you'd want to know. We'd love to see that. Color filters, just so you can change brightness, all that sort of business. High contrast mode, this is, you'll mainly see that in accessibility here, but let's jump into audio. Audio is great, you can pretty much change absolutely anything you want. I have noticed that it seems like certain footstep sounds and things like that are very quiet. There's certain parts of the game where it just feels like the audio has just disappeared, but it's actually just the place you're in is just very quiet, not a lot of dynamic or sort of environmental sounds. Audio mix, you got headphones, dynamic range, streamer mode, because there are some licensed music. I'll actually just turn that on for the purposes of this video. And then subtitles, you've got plenty of stuff here, speaker name and all that, which was quite funny because this is on by default. And the first time I heard someone speak in the second level, it just said Fascist 1. And yeah, it was just quite funny. Accessibility, like I said, you've got you've got some stuff in here like UI font size and motion blurred, all that. But the main one here is you've got like high contrast colors for all sorts of different things. So if you're colorblind or just hard of seeing and stuff, you can turn that up and yeah, have a good time with that. Other than that, let's actually jump into it. And you'll notice that I'm just sort of standing on this like staircase, and that's because the game actually just puts the menu screen where you've just quit last. So if I just hit continue, and just like that, run our way. And if we go out here, welcome to the world of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, this is about a few hours in. Now, from what I understand, this is actually a longer game, but from what I've played so far, I think I've got the gist of what this game's going to be. I'm picking up what the game's putting down. Now, the first level that you play is a bit more linear. However, there are more side paths, but as you might imagine, the first level is a bit more linear just to get you used to things. However, after that, you're sort of thrown into this, into the next level, and there's a lot of side paths, a lot of little mysteries, a lot of things to explore. And I was thinking like, okay, we're gonna have our, fairly linear structure with just some like branching paths and all that sort of stuff. And then I got to this level, which is just an actual like open hub, which if I just show you the map, like it doesn't seem that big looking at this, but this is very dense. Like there's lots of buildings you can go in, there's lots of things to find, there's lots of little like side missions and all sorts to be doing here. It's actually kind of crazy. I've seen some people referring to this as a little bit Dishonored-like, and yeah, I could see it. Just being dropped into here and being told like, hey, here's what you gotta do, go do it. It's also a little bit Hitman. You got some like disguises and stuff to be able to sneak into places and find things, like all sorts of things. It was really quite a surprise. I wasn't expecting it from this game at all. I thought we were gonna get an Uncharted. Essentially, a first-person Uncharted. I thought that's what we were getting. Oh, I've been detected. I'm not actually too sure. Well, this gives me a chance to show you the combat, which I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, so I'm probably just going to die here very quickly. Yeah. Okay, get out of here, lads. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Oh, I know what happened. So I'm in disguise at the moment. Fascists everywhere. You know how it is. And I'm pretty sure that captain seen me. Certain people can see through your disguises, so I'm almost certain that's what just happened there. But the way the combat works is you've got sort of melee combat where you got left click and right click, and then you got like a power punch and stuff with a little stamina system down there. You can see at the bottom. Whenever someone hits you, you can hit V, and that sort of does. If you hold it, it blocks, but if you tap it, it's a parry. Now, if you're in a 1v1, very easy to just parry and win your fist fight. Very, very easy. But if you're against multiple people, then, as you just saw, it gets pretty overwhelming. Now, there is gunplay in this. The level I was playing before this, I had like a little revolver, but because I'm in disguise as like a cleric right now, then obviously I'm not going to be carrying a gun around with me, so I got my whip, which they don't really like me doing, but you can whip people, which is always fun. But the whip is fantastic. It's great to use, as you would want and expect from an Indiana Jones game. But yeah, let me bring up this. And you can see you got your map, you got your journal, this is all sorts of stuff. So right now I'm doing this whole thing about a mad priest, just finding letters, discoveries. This is just different things you come across. So like you can get collectibles. So you see it says find medicine bottles in the Vatican 2 to 15. Now that's a bit, like tick boxing, open world, find all the stuff, all that kind of stuff. Which I'm normally not a big fan of, but this game does reward you nicely, at least for it. Whenever you find collectibles and stuff like that, you can get what are funnily named adventure points. Just, well, I say funnily named, it's just very apt, just very straightforward. Adventure points. Once you get adventure points, you can actually go over to books, and you'll see down here on the left you've got different categories, and then on the right you'll see how many I've got. So you find a book, and then that'll go into a category on the left. And then you must use your adventure points, which you'll see in the top right. I've got 80 to spend on these. And there'll be stuff like... This one's pretty fantastic. I haven't had this happen yet. But after being knocked out, Indy can pick up his fedora using E, giving him a second chance at the fight. Lucky has disable Indy's outfit. Fortitude is on cooldown. So you get like an extra little ability and stuff like that. So fitness, you know, improved health bar regeneration and efficiency. So this is kind of like your progression, I guess, as you go through the game. So exploring, you know, as you might imagine, as Indiana Jones, is important in the Indiana Jones game. And not only that, you'll find like artifacts and different things, and those artifacts give you adventure points, and then you find the things to put the adventure points into, and it's just it's a good loop, it's a good system, especially for a game like this. So let's see, what else can I show you around here? Inventory system. Yeah, you got like your little satchel, and you can sort of pick up a few different things. You know, you got the quest stuff, you got like keys and stuff you can find to get into places. Ancient relic, that's just something I found that got me some adventure points. So I do have my revolver on me actually, but I'd have to switch into my Indy outfit, and I'm pretty sure if I switch to that, then I'm going to get in trouble. You've got slots for 3 healing items, so you can get bandages and food. I believe bandages are better, but food is faster, I think is how that works at the moment. And then I haven't really found anything that goes on the upper slots yet, but I'm sure I will. But pretty simple inventory system. For the most part, the game will actually, you'll just be using hotkeys. This might be different on controller, but on PC anyway, you'll just be using hotkeys, and then the game will actually prompt you when you can use something that's relevant. So if I find a door that I have the key for, it'll just say press tab, and you'll just pull out that key specifically. So you don't have to go into your inventory, stuff like that. Or it doesn't just do it automatically where you feel like you're actually like doing it usefully. Oh yes, they got these little signposts, which is pretty cool, because some of these areas, like I said, are quite dense and can be quite big, so they have these signposts where you can just teleport straight to another area. So now I'm here, which is pretty much on the other side. Yeah, you can see I'm just on like the far right now, because I'm that white arrow in the bottom right there, and now I'm just over here. This is somewhere I went earlier, just for like a little side mission. Do some classic adventuring. But yeah, like I said, these hub areas, I really wasn't expecting them at all, and it's really cool that they're here, because there's so much to explore. Like in here, I haven't actually been in here yet, so I don't really know like what the crack is with this. Like, hello, fellas. Bless you. And you might just find some like ancient discovery, or you might find like a little side quest that's going on. Like, who knows what you'll find in these sort of places. You'll find little bits of lore about what's going on in the time period and all this sort of stuff. Game does look great, doesn't it? Yeah. The path tracing and stuff, like the lighting. Like the first level, as much as I said like the performance isn't great, like it looks absolutely gorgeous. When you're going through like a tomb or something with like a little torch out and stuff like that, and like all the lighting's dynamically going everywhere. As much as ray tracing is, it is a large gimmick for the most part. When it works, it does look really nice. So you got like a little restricted area. So there's some areas, even though, you know, I'm sort of dressed up as a priest, you know, these guys here. Fascist, you know, he's saying that to me, like, get out of here. I'm not allowed. There's kind of a bit of a conspiracy going on, you know, like, who knows? We'll try and figure it out. Story-wise, I've been having a good time with it so far. It's kind of what you'd expect, you know. Game starts off with a mysterious individual that leads off into a series of events, and then that leads you world hopping, you know, globe hopping from place to place, trying to figure out, put it all together. So that's all great stuff. This is going to be your pretty just good time Indiana Jones story. And that's pretty much all anyone wanted from it, I would imagine. Music-wise, pretty standard stuff. Nothing too crazy. Every now and again, you'll hear like little motifs of like the Indiana Jones theme, which is really cool to hear. Although if you have licensed music turned off, you may not hear that. But if you're just playing by yourself, then you probably will. Let's see if this guy even notices me. The sneaking, the stealth aspect, because you're going to be doing a lot of stealthing. A lot of stealthing in this game. The AI is pretty darn forgiving when it comes to what they see and what they don't. So the stealth doesn't feel too crazy punishing or anything like that, which is nice. If I just use your whip for traversal quite nicely. Now, in terms of voice acting, now you may be wondering, like we are definitely playing as Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones here. You know, this isn't a, oh, it's Indiana Jones, but it's someone else's Indiana Jones type thing. No, this is Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. Now, he's not doing the voice acting, it's Troy Baker. And his Harrison Ford is really good. There's sometimes you can kind of hear it where you can be like, oh, that's not quite Harrison Ford, but it's not much, you know, it's not much. You really have to be listening to it with that sort of idea in mind. Nice skill down here. Yes. That always freaks me out doing that because I think I'm just going to drop. But his his Harrison Ford Indiana Jones impression is absolutely spot on, especially when he's talking in a bit more like sort of quieter tone or a bit like of a softer tone, and whenever he gets loud as well. It's usually whenever he has to speak up a little bit, like a bit more excitedly. You can hear the Troy Baker coming through. But no, he's fantastic. From what I understand, Todd Howard didn't actually want Troy Baker doing it because Troy Baker is in like everything, and Todd Howard wanted to avoid that. But they did an audience screening of the two voice actors. I'm not sure who the other one was, and apparently like 100% of the audience was like the Troy Baker one was just the best. Obviously, they didn't know it was him at the time, but yeah, it is absolutely fantastic. Crazy, crazy good. Right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to show you, because if I go on with story stuff, then it's going to be a bit spoilery, you know, in a very story-heavy game. So I suppose I'll show you a bit more of the combat. See if I can, because another way the combat works is you would get an item, and whenever you're stealthing around, items have durability. So you'll see in the bottom right, it's got this like white little dot. So this has one hit, and then it's broken. So you're not going to be getting like a melee weapon and keeping it forever. There are repair boxes. So if there is a particular item you're looking to hang on to, you can definitely prolong its life. But generally, for the most part, you'll be sneaking up behind someone with a bottle in hand or something like that and going crack, and they get knocked out. Obviously, these guys are right here, so see if we can take them out. Yeah, give him a little parry, give him a little punch. Yeah, you're not really going to be winning all these fights against like multiple people. This is where the the stealth aspect comes in. But so far it's been a lot of fun. I've been having a good time. I don't know if it's the sort of game I would personally finish. Just these sorts of games aren't really for me. And in terms of Indiana Jones, like I like Indiana Jones. I haven't seen the newer, I know they're not new because they've been out for a while, but like the newer Indiana Jones films with like Shia LaBeouf and stuff. I haven't seen those. But I mean, I've had a good time with all the other ones, but this sort of game, if this is your thing, this is as good as it's ever been, in my opinion. Like if you like the Uncharted games, if you like the Tomb Raider games, you like Indiana Jones, because I feel like if you like those two things, how do you not like Indiana Jones? Then you're going to absolutely love this. In terms of licensed, like IP, sort of movie-based games, it's not movie-based, not based on a movie, but you know what I mean. In terms of that sort of thing, like this is one of the best. Like this is up there, 100%. With it being on Game Pass, I mean, if you have Game Pass, or even if you don't, like this is a great way to experience this game. You know, pick up Game Pass, play through this, have a great time. But also one worth owning. Because I feel like there's a lot to love here. I feel like there's some good replayability as well, especially with finding everything. There's a lot of mysteries, little side mysteries and stuff in missions, which you'll pick up a note and it'll hint to something, and then it's on you to like clue all the pieces together and find out where this like hidden passageway is that has this ancient thing that that you can go and get, and that gets you a ton of adventure points, and then you can upgrade yourself like crazy and all that sort of business. As far as I know, there's no plans for like any DLC for this game or anything, although I don't know what their expectations were for how successful this was going to be, because I know I was expecting this to come out and be roughly around like a 7 out of 10, like, it's alright, Indiana Jones game, but this is probably as good as it could have been, to be honest. So I'm expecting more to come out after this, to be honest, if they want to do like a little sequel, or maybe if they want to add some DLC to this. Although it seems like it's going to be a pretty self-contained story, so we'll have to see what happens there.
Need to get away.
Oh yeah, that guy spotting me, doesn't like me. He's eyeing me up. Yeah, to sort of conclude on this one, absolutely fantastic. If you've liked what you've seen here, you like your Dishonored, your Hitman kind of, you know, big open areas with lots of ways to progress and do things, sort of like little hub areas, and you like Indiana Jones, you like the action adventure stealth sort of concept, then this is absolutely fantastic. This is like a must play for those sorts of people, for that sort of audience. Absolutely. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.